This is no mere farewell portrait. This is 40 years in the making, a chilling act of vengeance. You gaze upon a smiling Grand Duchess adorned in resplendent sapphires, but your eyes deceive you. Behind that serene smile lies one of the most explosive yet silently waged battles in modern monarchy. A mother-in-law versus daughter-in-law feud. Decades of quiet humiliations, icy disdain, and a relentless struggle for power within the thick palace walls. And at the very heart of this drama stands one thing: the legendary Sapphires, a symbol of authority for years just beyond her grasp. A relic steeped in the essence of a woman who, rumor has it, never truly accepted its legacy. Then, years later, having finally acquired these jewels, she makes one singular move. One simple gesture captured in this photograph, a move that irrevocably overturned everything. What did she do? And why have royal experts dubbed it the most elegant yet most brutal retort in the annals of modern monarchies? Today, we will dissect this portrait, inch by meticulous inch. I'll reveal what the official chronicles gloss over, the raw drama of two women trapped in a gilded cage. So read on to the very end to discover how a single necklace can become a weapon in a silent palace war. To grasp the true significance of this sapphire parure, we must journey back to the mid-20th century. Europe was still shaking off the ashes of the Second World War, and a society weary from hardship yearned for splendor and stability. It was amidst this atmosphere of rebirth, in 1953, that one of the most celebrated unions of the era took place: the marriage of Princess Josephine Charlotte of Belgium, sister to the future King Baudouin, and hereditary Grand Duke Jean of Luxembourg. This was more than just a wedding. It was a potent political and dynastic symbol, cementing the bonds between two pivotal European monarchies. For the young princess, destined to embody the very face of the nation, jewelry of appropriate magnitude was imperative. What was needed was not merely an accessory, but a grand statement in jewels. A true work of art, capable of articulating power, tradition, and impeccable taste. The commission for such a masterpiece was placed with the venerable Belgian jewelry house Van Bever. The selection was no mere coincidence. Entrusting the creation of such an iconic adornment to the court jewelers of her native Belgium was both a gesture of patriotism and a profound homage to her heritage, which Josephine Charlotte carried into her new family. The design was both grand and royally pragmatic. The era's vogue leaned towards transformable pieces, intricate jewels that could be worn in various configurations. The mandate was to create not one, but several treasures in a single design. The parure had to effortlessly transform from a grand ceremonial necklace into an elegant tiara, with its individual elements serving as standalone brooches. This reflected the prevailing spirit of the age. Luxury was to be not merely dazzling, but also eminently functional, capable of adapting to any royal protocol. The masters of Van Bever faced an ambitious task. Their challenge was not merely to assemble magnificent stones, but to engineer an intricate mechanism invisible to the naked eye, allowing this cascade of sapphires and diamonds to effortlessly transform its shape. Every clasp, every setting had to be nothing short of flawless. At the heart of the composition, a sizable Ceylonese sapphire of a deep cornflower blue hue was chosen, a gem symbolizing wisdom, loyalty, and celestial protection. Thus, more than just an ornament came into existence. It was a bona fide family heirloom, born at the confluence of two distinct eras. It carried the memory of pre-war opulence, yet was meticulously crafted to align with the dynamic rhythm of the new, post-war world. It stood as a powerful emblem of the enduring resilience of monarchical houses in a rapidly changing world, a precious guarantee of the dynasty's future prosperity, destined to silently bear witness to decades of rule, family joys, and national dramas. Let us momentarily set aside the history and its wearers and examine this treasure as a master jeweler would, under a powerful loupe. At the very heart of the entire composition lies the central sapphire. This is no mere stone. It is a celestial fragment of the night sky, ensnared within a flawless Celanese cut. Its color, deep, velvety, cornflower blue, possesses a mesmerizing quality. The longer one gazes into its depths, the more subtle nuances and shifting hues are revealed. Orbiting this vibrant blue sun is an entire galaxy of the purest water diamonds and smaller sapphires, each meticulously chosen with unfathomable precision, creating a breathtaking effect of seamless color gradation. The necklace's composition is a symphony of symmetry and natural harmony. The central element, like a sovereign's emblem, is seamlessly connected to two flanking, slightly smaller components. The connecting links are delicate floral motifs entirely encrusted with diamonds. These glittering garlands, meticulously fashioned from platinum or white gold, infuse the piece's austere aristocratic bearing with a touch of femininity and grace. The underlying framework, supporting hundreds of stones, is virtually invisible. It acts as a humble servant, its sole purpose to allow the gems to blaze forth in their full splendor, crafting the illusion that they are suspended in mid-air. Yet, the true genius of the Van Bever jewelers lies hidden from plain sight. This piece is a veritable marvel of engineering, a precious transformer. Thanks to an intricate system of concealed clasps and invisible hinges, it is capable of triumphant metamorphoses. In its full configuration, it stands as a majestic ceremonial necklace, undeniably a statement of status and uncompromising grandeur. But detach the flanking elements, and the central portion transforms into a lavish brooch or pendant. The side segments, in turn, become a pair of clip brooches, perfect for adorning jacket lapels or cinching a dress at the waist. And finally, the most magnificent transformation of all. When secured to a specialized framework, the necklace blossoms into a radiant tiara. It was often worn in this very form by its first owner, Josephine Charlotte. The style of the piece can be characterized as late Art Deco, subtly interwoven with neoclassical elements. Its rigorous geometric forms are softened by flowing lines and botanical motifs. This is not merely an assembly of stones, it is a coded message. The sapphires symbolize loyalty and wisdom, the diamonds represent eternity and purity, and the floral designs signify dynastic prosperity. Imagine for a moment holding it in your hands. You feel the satisfying weight of the precious metal and the cool touch of the stones. The clasp closes with a quiet, confident click, the sound of flawless craftsmanship. But the true enchantment begins with movement. Every diamond, cut to exacting standards, catches the slightest ray of light and explodes into 1,000 icy sparks. The sapphires, conversely, do not so much reflect light as absorb it, igniting from within with a deep blue fire. It is not mere sparkle, it is luminescence. We cannot overlook the earrings that complete the parure. They do not precisely mirror the necklace's design, but rather echo it, maintaining the overall harmony. An oval sapphire, framed in diamonds, crowns the ear, from which descends a mobile, teardrop-shaped pendant. Another sapphire, encircled by diamond pavé. This mobility imbues them with a vibrant life. They shimmer with every turn of the head, causing the blue drops to dance and capture the light, perfectly completing the royal ensemble. April 9th, 1953. Luxembourg held its breath. On this day, an event unfolded that would become a potent symbol of post-war resurgence and the unwavering endurance of European monarchies, the wedding of hereditary Grand Duke Jean and Princess Josephine Charlotte of Belgium. The streets overflowed with jubilant crowds, and the eyes of the entire world were fixed upon this fairy tale Grand Duchy. It was on this very day that the sapphire parure was poised to make its triumphant debut. That evening, following the official ceremony, a magnificent ball was held at the ducal palace. As the doors to the ballroom swung open and the young hereditary Grand Duchess made her entrance, A collective gasp of admiration rippled through the hall. She wore a luxurious ball gown, but the undeniable centerpiece, captivating every gaze, was the necklace. Gracing her neck against the backdrop of her fair skin and exquisite fabric, it shimmered with a deep, almost mystical blue fire, enveloped by an icy halo of hundreds of diamonds. This was the world's first glimpse of the Van Bever masterpiece in all its glory. The reaction was astounding. The hushed whispers that rippled through the hall were a blend of admiration and reverent envy. Journalists covering the event splashed photos of the Grand Duchess in her sapphires across the front pages of newspapers and magazines worldwide the following day. They weren't merely writing about beauty, they were writing about symbolism. This lavish gift from the Belgian royal family was perceived as a precious bridge between two nations, a pledge of an enduring alliance. It was on that very evening that the sapphire parure transcended being merely a collection of stones in exquisite settings. It acquired a soul, a name, and a destiny. It transformed into a legend, against which the jewelry history of Luxembourg would henceforth be measured. This was more than just a triumph of the jeweler's art. It was a triumph for the young princess who, with the aid of this magnificent adornment, announced herself as the future Grand Duchess, elegant, formidable, and utterly worthy of her exalted station. From that moment forward, the jewel became her signature. For nearly half a century, the sapphire parure was virtually inseparable from the image of Grand Duchess Josephine Charlotte. If its debut was a triumph, then the subsequent decades marked its golden age. The Duchess, possessing an innate sense of style, restrained, aristocratic, and flawlessly elegant, made this parure her absolute favorite. She didn't merely wear it, she engaged with it in a dialogue, revealing every facet of its complex character and making it an integral part of her monarchical persona. It was predominantly in Josephine Charlotte's hands that the world most frequently witnessed this jewel in its most majestic incarnation, as a tiara. She clearly favored this configuration for the grandest occasions. When secured to its framework, the necklace transformed into a resplendent, icy diadem, at the heart of which burned the deep cornflower blue fire of the main sapphire. This tiara crowned her at state banquets, during official visits from heads of other nations, and at the weddings of European monarchs. It became as recognizable a symbol of the Luxembourg court as the Vladimir tiara is a symbol of the British crown. Let's picture these moments. Here is the Grand Duchess receiving Queen Elizabeth II at her residence, adorned in the sapphire tiara, its blue echoing the ribbon of the highest order. And here she is, at the wedding of the heir to the Spanish throne. And again, this diadem gleams in her hair, proclaiming the status and ancient lineage of the Luxembourg dynasty. Josephine Charlotte masterfully utilized the jewel's transformative nature. For less formal dinners, she might wear it as a necklace, and for a daytime reception, she might adorn her jacket lapel with one of the clip brooches. She fully exploited the ingenious vision of the jewelers. The adornment became her calling card. Photographs capturing her in this tiara circulated globally, shaping the image of the Luxembourg monarchy, wealthy yet not ostentatious, modern yet honoring tradition. The parure was her steadfast companion throughout the long and stable reign of her husband, Grand Duke Jean. It witnessed the changing of eras, the birth and growth of their children, including the future heir, Henri. These stones were silent witnesses to quiet family evenings and momentous political events, absorbing the aura of their esteemed wearer. Moreover, the sapphires perfectly harmonized with her appearance and character. Their cool, deep color accentuated her light eyes and her striking Nordic beauty. Her essence was reflected in the brilliance of these stones, regal dignity, reserve, and inner strength. For generations of Europeans and residents of Luxembourg, the image of Grand Duchess Josephine Charlotte was simply inconceivable without this sapphire radiance. Thus, The golden age of this jewel is the era of one woman. She didn't merely own it, she gave it a history. She transformed a magnificent jewelry set into a dynastic heirloom, inscribing it into the annals of European royal houses. And when the epoch of her rule drew to a close, it seemed unimaginable that anyone else could wear these stones with such profound dignity. But every golden age casts its shadows, and behind the flawless facade of palace life often lie complex human dramas. The sapphire parure, a symbol of Josephine Charlotte's reign, became an unwitting witness to one of the most discussed, albeit unspoken, sagas of the Luxembourg court: the tense relationship between the Grand Duchess and her daughter-in-law, Maria Theresa. No financial machinations or crimes linked to these stones have ever been recorded. Their dark side is a tale of the collision of two worlds and two formidable women. For decades, hushed whispers circulated through the palace corridors. On one side was Josephine Charlotte, a European royal by birth, raised in the most stringent traditions, the very epitome of aristocratic reserve and rigid protocol. On the other was Maria Theresa Mestre, vibrant and emotional, born in Cuba to a family of financiers, a woman from the New World who injected her spirited temperament and forthrightness into the ancient monarchy. Lore suggests the mother-in-law never fully accepted her son's choice, viewing her daughter-in-law as an alien presence. Within this silent family feud, the sapphire parure assumed a uniquely symbolic role. It was not merely an adornment, but a mantle of power, a piece of regalia worn by the reigning Grand Duchess. For Maria Theresa, the prospect of one day wearing these stones meant not only stepping into a new role, but also having to measure up to the image of a woman with whom, rumor had it, she shared a deeply strained relationship. Every appearance by Josephine Charlotte in this tiara was a silent reminder of who truly commanded the stage. What's fact and what's fiction here? For years, these remained mere whispers, never acknowledged by the royal court. However, in 2002, as the Grand Duchess, Maria Theresa gave a candid interview confirming, albeit with immense discretion, that her relationship with her mother-in-law was exceedingly challenging and that she had endured a profound sense of rejection. This courageous move transformed decades of hearsay into documented fact, casting a brilliant light upon the shadows that lingered behind the formal portraits. Thus, the scandal surrounding this particular parure is not a tale of theft or substitution. Rather, it's a poignant psychological drama about legacy. For Maria Theresa, these sapphires were far more than mere jewels. They represented a weighty yet exquisite inheritance, a shimmering reminder of a long and arduous journey toward acceptance. Their cool luminescence holds the memory not only of glittering balls and grand receptions, but also of unspoken words and the quiet, enduring tension between two Grand Duchesses. Autumn of 2000. Grand Duke Jean, after 36 years on the throne, abdicated in favor of his son, Henri. This pivotal historical moment signaled a transformation not just for the head of state, but for the status of every member of the royal family. Josephine Charlotte, who had worn the title of Grand Duchess Consort for nearly half a century, transitioned to simply Grand Duchess. Meanwhile, her daughter-in-law, Maria Theresa, ascended to a new echelon. Along with her new title came the prerogative to wear the dynasty's most significant jewels. The sapphire parure, once an inextricable part of Josephine Charlotte's public persona, formally acquired a new custodian. It was a moment brimming with complex, unspoken emotions. For the nation, it marked a farewell to an era of stability and a familiar image of monarchy. For Maria Theresa, it was the culmination of a protracted journey. Yet, gaining the right to wear such a treasure was only half the battle. Far more daunting was the task of embracing its weighty legacy. These stones were so intimately tied to her mother-in-law's persona that donning them would mean inviting direct comparison, a challenge the new Grand Duchess might not yet have been prepared to face. Following Josephine Charlotte's passing in 2005, the sapphire parure vanished from public view for an extended period. It receded into the shadows, as if the treasure itself required time to bid farewell to its first and foremost wearer and to observe a period of mourning. It was a wise and considerate pause. Maria Theresa understood that to truly make the jewels her own, she had to await the opportune moment. One could not simply don the tiara and step into another's shoes. She needed to wait for the nostalgic sentiment to subside, then reintroduce the legendary sapphires with an entirely fresh interpretation. Years passed. The sapphire casket remained sealed. Court observers and connoisseurs of haute joaillerie worldwide pondered a single question. Would this masterpiece ever again grace the public eye? Or would it forever remain a relic, a poignant symbol of a bygone era, too inextricably linked with the memory of Grand Duchess Josephine Charlotte to begin a new life? This prolonged silence only intensified the jewel's mystical aura, elevating its anticipated return into one of the most compelling jewelry intrigues across European monarchies. And then, after years of hushed anticipation, the moment arrived. Not at a Christie's auction, nor behind the glass of a museum display, but precisely where they belonged, upon their rightful wearer. The unveiling of official portraits, commissioned for Maria Theresa's recent birthday as the reigning Grand Duchess, sent shockwaves through the world of royal jewelry aficionados. The legendary sapphires had returned. They gleamed once more, but with an entirely new radiance. But this was no mere re-emergence. It was a profound reinterpretation, a bold and sagacious declaration. Grand Duchess Maria Theresa achieved something perhaps no one else would have dared. She deliberately departed from the parure's most iconic configuration. She did not wear the tiara. Instead, she presented the world with Van Beever's masterpiece in its original form, as a magnificent necklace. It was a stroke of genius. The tiara had been Josephine Charlotte's emblem of power, her unspoken crown. By choosing the necklace, Maria Theresa seemed to declare, "I am not vying for her position, I am establishing my own." She shifted the emphasis from head to heart, rendering the jewel more personal, more intimate. The new interpretation was underscored by the entire ensemble. Instead of a classic ball gown, Maria Theresa opted for a modern, elegant navy jumpsuit by Nathan. It was a dialogue between eras captured within a single portrait. Historical stones, imbued with the memory of the mid-20th century, harmoniously paired with 21st century fashion. Maria Theresa made no attempt to recreate her predecessor's image. Instead, she seamlessly integrated the legendary treasure into her own distinct style, the style of a confident, contemporary woman. She demonstrated that family jewels are not frozen museum exhibits, but a living history that continues right here, right now. In that very moment, the perception of the jewels changed forever. They ceased to be Josephine Charlotte's tiara. They became the grand sapphire parure of the House of Nassau-Weilburg, a dynastic relic that could, and indeed should, live on, adapting to new eras and new wearers. Through her choice, Maria Theresa liberated the parure from the shadow of one individual and returned it to the entire ruling house. She did not eclipse her mother-in-law's memory. On the contrary, she respectfully continued the treasure's story, opening a brand new chapter. It was at this precise juncture, on the cusp of her husband's abdication, that the parure's historical and symbolic value reached its zenith. Its appearance in the farewell portraits became a symbol not only of continuity, but also of the monarchy's wise transformation. Its worth was now measured not merely in carats and impeccable provenance. It encompassed the complex history of two women, two eras, and one delicate yet resolute gesture that transformed a relic of the past into a treasure of the future. So, where is this treasure now? The answer is both simple and complex. It does not rest in a state museum behind armored glass, nor has it been sold to a private collection. Its home is the treasury of the Grand Duke of Luxembourg, a special family trust established to preserve the dynasty's most iconic jewels for future generations. This means the parure will never be sold or broken up. It has definitively transitioned from being personal adornment to a national heritage, belonging not to an individual, but to the crown itself. Its current status is that of a silent artifact, a living witness to history. It is no longer an everyday accessory, even for the most solemn occasions. Its appearance is always an event, always a message. Its inclusion in Maria Theresa's farewell portraits marked its final grand role in a departing era. Now, it awaits its next chapter, which will undoubtedly be linked to the future Grand Duchess, hereditary Grand Duchess Stephanie. Interestingly, Stephanie has already appeared on several occasions wearing the earrings from this parure. This is a subtle hint, a curtsy to the future, a sign that the passing of the torch has already begun. Any attempt to appraise its monetary value would not merely be challenging, but in some sense, crude. How does one appraise history? Yes, its material worth is colossal. A large Ceylon sapphire of impeccable color, hundreds of top-quality diamonds, the craftsmanship of a renowned jewelry house. But this is only a fraction of its true value. Its primary worth lies in its provenance, an unblemished history of ownership. It holds within it the memory of two Grand Duchesses, decades of rule, the changing of eras, and a quiet family drama. Today, it is a keeper of eternity, a precious chronicle written in the language of sapphires and diamonds. Its mission is not merely to adorn, but to connect generations, reminding future rulers of those who came before them and of the profound responsibility resting upon their shoulders. And so, we return to the question with which we began. What truly do these jewels tell us in the final moments of a fading era? The answer is now evident. They speak not of a farewell to power, but of a reconciliation with history. Grand Duchess Maria Theresa's photo shoot was not just a formal gesture. It was her final, most nuanced, and most powerful move as the reigning consort, an act of ultimate acceptance of a complex legacy and the affirmation of her own place within it. By choosing the necklace form over the tiara, she accomplished more than a mere stylistic choice. She drew a line between eras, paying homage to her predecessor while simultaneously liberating herself and the jewels from her shadow. It was a silent yet eloquent dialogue with the past. In this gesture, there was neither defiance nor oblivion. There was the wisdom of a woman who found a way to bear the weight of history not as a burden upon her head, but as an adornment close to her heart. The story of this sapphire parure demonstrates the cardinal rule of magnificent jewels. They are silent chroniclers of human stories. They become imbued with pride, cool reserve, the sting of rejection, and the quiet triumph of reconciliation. These stones are not mere witnesses. They are participants in the drama that unfolded between two powerful women, two distinct worlds, united by a single crown. They are the physical embodiment of a dynasty, with all its ceremonial grandeur and complexities hidden from prying eyes. Such treasures are anchors in time. They outlast their wearers, becoming a bridge between generations. They serve as a reminder that behind the glitter and prestige, there are always living individuals with their ambitions, passions, and hopes. In the cool light of these sapphires, the history of Grand Duke Jean and Josephine Charlotte's reign is forever crystallized, and now their facets reflect the wise, understated mark Maria Theresa has made. Now, this parure awaits its new chapter, its next wearer. It will be passed on, but no longer merely as a collection of precious stones, but as a relic imbued with complex and profound meaning. Monarchs fade, eras shift, but the stories, frozen in the cool brilliance of the stones, endure forever. For true masterpieces are immortal not because of their price tag, but because of the stories they tell without a single word.